Hello everyone, I am Golden Ashwini. I am here to present input output devices and computer architecture and organization. On completion of this video, students will be explained what is input output devices and how it is works. First one is input devices. Input device, that is keyboard. A keyboard has its own processor and circuitry that carries information to and from that processor. So a large part of this circuitry makes up the key matrix, which is arranged in rows and columns. So key matrix is a grid that a grid of circuit underneath the keys. In all the keyboards, each circuit is broken at a point below each key. When a key is it presses a switch, completing the circuit and allowing the tiny amount of current flowing through it. Then the mechanical action of the switch causes some vibration called bounce, which the processor filter out. If the key is pressed and held continuously, the processor recognizes it as the equivalent of pressing a key repeatedly. Another type of keyboard has three layers: a top plasticide layers with the key position marked on the top surface and conducting traces on other side. So middle layer made of a rubber with a hole for key positions. So bottom metallic layer which raised bumps for key positions. When a key is pressed, the trace underneath the top layer comes in contact with the pump in the last layer, so thus completing an electrical circuit. So the current flow is sensed by microcontroller. Then another one input device is mouse. So a computer mouse is a handheld pointing device that detects two-dimensional motion relative to a surface. So this motion typically translated into the motion of the pointer on a display, so which allows a smooth control of the graphical user interface. There are two main kinds of mice: rolling rubber ball mouse or optical mouse. So as a mouse is moved, the ball roll under its own weight and pushes against two plastic roller linked to thin wheels. So one of the wheel detects movement in an up and down direction, and the other detects side to side movement, x and y axis likewise. So if the mouse is moved straight up, only the y axis will turns. If the mouse is moved to the right, only the x axis will turns. So the optical mouse shines bright light down onto the desk from the LED mounted on the bottom of the mouse. So the light bounces straight back up off the desk into a photo cell also mounted under the mouse a short distance from the LED. So the photo cell has a lens in front of it that magnifies the reflected light. So the mouse can respond more precisely to your hand movements. So as the mouse is pushed, the pattern of reflected light changes, and the chip inside the mouse uses this to figure out the motion. Then the next one is trackball or joystick and touchpad. A trackball can also be used as an alternative to a mouse. So this device also has buttons similar to those on a mouse. So it holds a large moving ball on the top. So the body of the trackball is not moved. The ball is rolled with fingers. So the position of the cursor on the screen is controlled by rotating the ball. So the main benefit of the trackball over a mouse is that it takes less space to move. The trackball is often included in laptop computers. The standard desktop computers also uses a trackball operated as a separate input devices. A touchpad is a small plant surface over which the user moves his finger. The user controls the movement of the cursor on the screen by moving his fingers on the touchpad. So it is also known as a trackpad. A touchpad also has one or more buttons near it. So these buttons work like a mouse buttons. So touchpads are commonly used with notebook computers. So a joystick consists of a base and stick. So the stick can be moved in several directions to shift an object anywhere on the computer screen. A joystick can perform a similar function to a mouse or a trackball. It is often considered less comfortable and efficient. The most common use of the joystick is for playing computer games. Then scanners. A scanner operates by shining a light at the object document being digitized and directing the reflected light onto the photosensitive elements. In most scanners, the sensing medium is an electronic light sensing integrated circuit known as a charged coupled devices. Then next one is output devices. Output devices, first video displays. The CRT monitors were fundamental output display device. This is shown in the figure. CRT monitor. Then CRT is nothing but a cathode ray tube is a picture tube of a monitor. So the back of the tube has a negative charged cathodes. Then the electron gun shoots the electrons down the tube onto the charged screen. The screen is coated with a pattern of dots using phosphor that glow when struck by the electron stream. So the image on the monitor screen is usually made up from at least tens of thousands of such tiny dots glowing on command from the computer. The closer together the pixels are, the sharper the image on the screen. So the distance between pixels on a computer monitor screen is called its dot pitch and is measured in multimeters. Most monitors have a dot pitch of 0.28 mm or less. There are two electromagnets around the collar of the tube which deflect the electron beam. So the beam scans across the top of the monitor from the left to right, is then blanked and moved back to the left hand side slightly below the previous trace. Scans across the second line and so on until the bottom right of the screen is reached. The beam is again blanked and moved back to the top left to start again. So this process does a complete pictures typically 550 to 100 times a second. So the number of times in 1 second that an electron gun redraws the entire image is called the refresh rate and is measured in hertz, cycles per seconds. In a common, particularly in lower priced equipment for all the odd numbers lines of an image to be traced and then all the even number lines, the circuitry of such and an interlaced display need to be have only half the speed of non-interlaced display. An interlaced display, particularly at a relatively low refresh rate, can appear to some observers to flickers. So and may cause eye strain and nausea. So the intensity or strength of the electron beam is controlled by setting the voltage levels. So the number of electrons that hits the screen determines the light emitted by the screen. When the voltage is varied in the electron guns, the brightness of the display also varies. So the focusing hardware focuses the beam at all positions on the screen. The deflection of electron beam is controlled by electric or magnetic field. Two pairs of coils mounted on the CRT to produce the necessary deflection. So the coils are placed in such a way that the magnetic field produces by them. They result in transverse deflected force that is perpendicular to the magnetic field and the electron beam. Then other output devices, first one is printer. So a printer is an electromechanical device which converts the text and graphical document from electronic form to the physical form. Then daisy wheel printers. So daisy wheel printers print only the character and symbol and cannot print graphics. Then dot matrix printer. It is a popular computer printer that prints text graphics on the paper by using tiny dots to form a desired shapes. Then inkjet printer. Inkjet printer are most popular printers for home and small scale offices as they have a reasonable cost and good quality of printing as well. And inkjet printer is used for. Then laser printer. Laser printer are the most popular printer that are mainly used for large scale qualitative printing. Thank you. Thanks for listening.